Hello, I'm David Hardesty. In this lecture, we continue our Unit 2 discussion of website development costs with a detailed look at the accounting for the cost of website content. Before studying this lecture, please first study 3 other lectures. Lecture 2-1, Overview of the Accounting for Website Development Costs. Lecture 2-2, Accounting for Software Costs in Websites. And Lecture 2-3, Identifying Section 263 and 162 costs. The objectives of this lecture are to understand how to identify website content costs, including how to differentiate website content from website software costs. Identify those website content costs that are currently deductible. Identify those website content costs that must be capitalized. And understand the methods for amortizing capitalized costs. The reading in the text that is associated with this lecture is at 7.07. Let's start by identifying website content. Website content is anything displayed through a website that is not considered software. Website content primarily includes literary content, which is written content such as the text that makes up news articles, product descriptions, blogs, and so on. Graphics, such as photos and illustrations. Sound, including recorded music and sound effects. Video, including product videos, YouTube videos, news videos, entertainment videos, and so on. As noted above, website content is anything displayed in a website that is not software. To learn how to identify website software, see Lecture 2-2. Here's an example of website content. mp3maniacs.com is a website that sells downloadable music. Nearly everything on the website that a user sees, reads, or listens to is website content. This includes the digital pictures of the music cover art, the text that describes musical offerings, the MP3 files containing samples of the music, and any digitized video clips. The website is powered by software, including database software, software that controls how the content is displayed, and software that takes and processes orders. Nearly all of this software is invisible to the user. However, the software is also made up of certain graphics that are integral to the operation of the software, such as graphic borders and various graphic buttons and symbols that form the basic structure of the website and allow the user to navigate the site. Graphic elements that are integral to the operation of the software are not website content. Once we have identified website content, we have to know whether it is currently expensed or capitalized. The rules for making this determination are discussed primarily in Lecture 2-3. Here are some further comments. The cost of purchased content will generally be capitalized if it has a useful life of more than 1 year. The cost of created content with a life of more than 1 year will be capitalized if the content can be considered a separate and distinct intangible asset. Examples of capitalized content include the following: website text, graphics, sound or video, either created or purchased, which have economically useful lives of more than 1 year. As noted in the previous slides, self-created content can be capitalized if it is a separate and distinct intangible. Under the regulations, a separate and distinct intangible is a property, interest of ascertainable and measurable value in money's worth, that is subject to protection under applicable state, federal, or foreign law, the possession and control of which is intrinsically capable of being sold, transferred, or pledged separate and apart from the trade or business. Note that much website content, which is ordinarily copyrighted material, would not meet this definition primarily because the content has no real value separate and apart from the trade or business. Here's an example of purchased content. MP3 Maniacs purchases from Jones, a documentary filmmaker, all of the rights to several short videos on the lives and works of jazz musicians, which will be available for viewing in the website. The intention is to use these videos to both attract customers and inform customers. These videos have useful lives extending far beyond 1 year, so their cost meets the initial test for capitalization. In addition, the videos are meant to enhance the value of the site, but are not meant to advertise particular products, so the cost may not be deductible as advertising. Accordingly, the cost may have to be capitalized and amortized. Here's an example of self-created content. Owing to the success of the videos in the previous example, MP3 Maniacs hires the filmmaker on a part-time basis to make more videos for the site. The videos produced, like the ones purchased, have long useful lives. In addition, they are protected by copyright law and are intrinsically capable of being sold or transferred separate from the business. Accordingly, they meet the definition of separate and distinct intangibles and may have to be capitalized. Now let's consider deducted website content costs. The cost of purchased content will generally be deducted if it has a useful life of no more than 1 year. Likewise, the cost of created content with a life of no more than 1 year will be deducted. As a special rule, advertising content is generally deducted currently, regardless of its useful life. Finally, if self-created content does not meet the definition of a separate and distinct intangible, then it will be deducted. Examples of currently deductible content include advertising content, current news articles, product descriptions that change frequently, and video, sound, and graphics with useful lives of no more than 1 year. Here's an example of purchased content that is expensed. MP3 Maniacs purchases from Jones, a freelance writer, all of the copyright rights to a book he wrote that includes thousands of descriptions of music albums. The descriptions in the book will be associated with the music sold on the website. Each description has an indefinite useful life. However, the purpose of each written description is solely to advertise the work. Accordingly, while the content has a life of more than 1 year, because it is primarily for advertising, it may be deductible immediately. Here's an example of created content that is expensed immediately. MP3 Maniacs employs Williams, a freelance writer, to create digital images and written content for all of the website's pages. The purpose of some of this content is to help users navigate the website. Other content provides information about different types of music, and other content is there to entertain users. All of this content has a life beyond 1 year. Arguably, some of this content can be immediately expensed as advertising. Other content cannot. However, if this other content has no value separate and apart from the website, which would be the case with content to help users navigate the site, then it would not be capitalized. Once we have determined that the cost of website content should be capitalized, we have to know how to amortize that cost. We introduced the subject of amortization of capitalized intangible costs in Lecture 2-3. Let's elaborate on this a bit. In general, website content is an intangible and is not subject to depreciation under Section 168. Instead, website content is amortized under Section 167, which provides that the cost is amortized over its economically useful life. It is important to note that content is not amortized over its legal life, which can stretch to 100 years. Essentially, the legal life of website content is ignored. The primary methods of amortizing website content are the straight-line method and the income forecast method, both of which are discussed in the text at 7.074. There is a safe harbor life of 15 years for certain intangibles that are either acquired or purchased. However, the applicability of the safe harbor is quite limited. Here's an example of the amortization of intangibles. As noted earlier, MP3 Maniacs has purchased all of the rights to short videos created by another person, the cost of which is capitalized and amortized. What should the amortization period be? The amortization period is the useful life of the videos. The company will have to come up with a plausible way of determining this useful life. Note that the safe harbor life of 15 years does not apply to intangibles acquired from another.